competitive multiplayer, live service, esports. Well, esports is kind of dying, but people love this stuff. I used to be really into them back in high school. But as I inch closer to my inevitable Persona 3, I've begun to gravitate back to my childhood preference of single-player games, mostly RPGs. That new Baldur's Gate game's looking real good, huh? However, when I look at the vast swath of video games released nowadays, I can't help but notice a severe lack of co-op games. Games that put me on the piss-stained, smelly hardwood floors of the house I grew up in, parallel to one of my buddies laughing it up like King DDD. There's a few that pop up now and then, like that new Double Dragon, River City Girls, or Shredder's Revenge. I mean, I guess there's Borderlands 3, but like...
What you got, Gate? Nothing, bitch! You got nothing!
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Then I realized, with EVO's recent conclusion, there is still a genre that I've continuously come back to that still gives me the same feelings that welled up inside of my belly back then. Fighting games.
Let's go! It's showtime!
Before I begin, I just want to briefly mention that I'm currently running a GoFundMe due to some extremely unfortunate events that have occurred to my partner and I this past year. I'd appreciate if you could check it out and spread the word. All right, let's begin. My first fighting game I ever played was
Dragon Ball GT Final Bout
for the PlayStation 1. My brother and I were around 5 to 6 years old, and we played the hell out of that game. We barely even knew what a Krillin was. Easily one of the worst games we had ever played, yet still gave us joy.
You can't beat me. I can tell without fighting you. Now, should I clean the trash of the universe?
No matter how wonky this garbage played, every poor polygon on screen was lovingly ingrained into my eyes. I thought this was peak gaming. Then I played Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and yeah, I think I traded in Dragon Ball Final Bout pretty soon after. Marvel vs. Capcom 2, I'd say, was the start of both building my competitive spirit as well as the anime-like bonding experience of beating up your bros while chowing down Ruffles cheddar cheese chips.
Delicious.
I did clean my fingers though. Please do not grab your controllers if your hands are covered in food. It's just disgusting. I had a friend who only played Sentinel. Apparently, Sentinel was broken. I would know because all he ever did was repeatedly until Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Fate of Two Worlds was released, only to heavy punch me once again. I vividly remember the first match we played. He locked in Sentinel, Captain America, and Chris Redfield. I locked in Dante from the Devil May Cry series, Amaterasu from the Okami series, and Zero from the Mega Man X series. Shout out to Primetime Andy. That's my boy. Right after the intros rolled and I heard the dreaded, I immediately turned my head towards him in disbelief, repeating the phrase. I think that was the moment my addiction to repeating the sounds and voice lines of video game characters was birthed. I did beat him though. We backed out. I picked Sentinel. He picked Sentinel. I don't remember the other characters. All that matters was our Dragon Ball GT Final Bout-like beam struggle of real life back and forth, back and forth. We laughed. We consumed more Ruffles cheddar cheese chips, but most importantly, we bonded. I'm not an idiot. I know what a cooperative game is, but this was more than working towards a goal together. Hand in hand. This was fun in its purest form. Hand in face and on. I love those Portal 2s and It Takes 2s, but there's something special about getting better together, both in-game and in real life, all by the simple act of knocking each other out just a little bit.
Nope! Oh my god!
Kind of like when Yosuke Hanamura and Yu Narukami, or Soji Seta for the weird ones, lovingly all out attack each other to a crescendo of a rank 10 social link. Street Fighter 4 was also a prominent one for me because it awakened something I never thought I'd actively desire. Something sweaty, stinky, and yet beautiful.
Esports.
I remember EVO 2013, 10 years ago, the return of Super Smash Bros. Melee. I did skip over the fun that I had with that game back on the GameCube, but do I really need to talk about how good that game was? Because it's real good. My first experience with esports came from the North American LCS, which began this very same year in February, and I loved it. Not so much anymore. But seeing a game as old as Melee being played on a stage like EVO, I never thought things like that could exist. Apparently, Nintendo really didn't want it to either, but hey, at least it happened. Once again, fighting games found a way back into my useless, boring, insignificant life, shining a light from the heavens of Gil's red and blue penis. Hours go by in a Skype call. More Ruffles cheddar cheese goes down our gullets, and cheers are had all around as Mango lands the up smash on Wobbles. Damn, that was peak. Even as I write the script that you're watching me say to a camera, yet honestly am repeatedly looking back at the script to read to the camera because I have zero ability to retain information in my head, there's a man named Blind Warrior Sven in Street Fighter 6 pools at EVO 2023 to my right, not currently at this time, but at the time of writing the script was to my right on my other monitor, who had just beat someone on stage as an actual blind man. And the crowd, including his opponent, celebrated his victory because fighting games bring people together. Fighting games are co-op games. Even now in my old age, I bonded with new friends over games like Dragon Ball FighterZ, Guilty Gear Strive, and now Street Fighter 6. You know who you are. I may not have as much time as I did before, and while games have completely transcended the game experience itself, I'm sorry, there's a little Chun-Li ditto going on right now, and some guy in chat just said check for nude mods. Wow. Video games really have transcended the gaming experience. Fighting games remain to be the single genre I see that have the camaraderie that little baby Pinoy used to have on a global scale. I mean no ill will to other competitive games or esports, but whether you're a sweaty tryhard with cheese growing out of your toenails or an overweight editor that wishes he could forget debt and order fried chicken from Jollibee, you're gonna have fun. I'm gonna go play some Street Fighter. Leave a like if you enjoyed, leave a dislike if you didn't. Support me on Patreon for more videos and streams. You can catch stuff like this early, and let me know in the comments, what fighting game do you want to see return? Personally, I'm trying to see some rival schools. Bye. Right after the intros rolled and I heard the dreaded, I immediately turned my head towards him in disbelief, repeating the phrase,